Welcome, dear viewers. Today we embark on an extraordinary journey, a journey of healing, transformation, and understanding. Our discussion, Overcoming Trauma Through Stories, Lessons from Comics, explores the unexpected yet profound power of visual narratives in addressing deep emotional wounds. I am your host, the Nomothete, and throughout this presentation, we shall delve into scientific insights, philosophical wisdom, psychological frameworks, medical understandings, the rich tapestry of comics, and the spiritual dimensions that inform and elevate our human experience. Hello, I'm delighted you're here today. In our time together, we will explore how storytelling, particularly through comics, offers not just escapism, but also an avenue for reflection, connection, and ultimately, healing. Let's begin our exploration by first understanding the nature of trauma itself. Trauma, at its core, is an overwhelming experience that shakes the very foundation of our being. Scientifically, trauma is recognized as a stress response that can profoundly alter brain function, affect hormonal balance, and disrupt neural pathways. Research in neuroscience shows that when an individual is exposed to trauma, the brain's limbic system, the emotional center, activates a fight, flight, or freeze response. This reaction, while essential for survival in moments of acute danger, can become maladaptive when the traumatic event is not resolved. Studies have revealed that prolonged trauma may lead to changes in brain structure and function, impairing memory, attention, and emotional regulation. The hippocampus, for example, which is crucial for forming new memories, can shrink under sustained stress, making it harder for trauma survivors to contextualize their experiences. Moreover, trauma is intricately linked to the body's stress hormones, particularly cortisol. Elevated cortisol levels over time can lead to a host of physical health problems, including cardiovascular issues and a weakened immune system. In this context, the process of healing becomes not only a psychological imperative, but a physiological one as well. Let us now transition into the realm of philosophy, where narrative and meaning are explored as fundamental aspects of the human condition. Philosophers from Aristotle to Nietzsche have long argued that storytelling is an intrinsic part of how we make sense of the world. The ancient Greeks believed that myths and legends were not merely fanciful tales, but essential narratives that encoded the collective wisdom of their culture. In contemporary thought, narrative is considered a primary mechanism through which we process our experiences, particularly those that are traumatic. The philosopher Paul Ricoeur posited that the act of narrative identity, the stories we tell about ourselves, helps us integrate our past, present, and future. This integration is vital for healing, as it allows us to reconstruct our identities beyond the confines of trauma. Furthermore, the existential perspective reminds us that every ending carries within it the seed of a new beginning. In the context of trauma, while the past may be fraught with pain, it also holds the potential for transformation. The very act of restoring our lives can be an act of defiance against the permanence of our suffering. Psychology offers yet another lens through which we can understand the therapeutic power of storytelling. Modern therapeutic techniques, such as narrative therapy, emphasize the importance of reauthoring one's life story. By reframing experiences, individuals can change the way they perceive and react to their past traumas. Comics, with their unique blend of visuals and text, provide an accessible and emotionally resonant medium for this kind of narrative transformation. The dual coding theory in psychology explains that information processed both visually and verbally is more likely to be retained and understood. Comics harness this principle by marrying intricate artwork with dialogue and narrative captions, making them particularly potent for those who have difficulty processing purely textual or spoken narratives. Moreover, the medium of comics enables readers to externalize their internal experiences. The panels, illustrations, and sequential art forms serve as a canvas upon which individuals can project their feelings, thereby facilitating a process of catharsis. In a sense, every comic becomes a mirror, reflecting one's inner struggles and the possibility of resolution. From a medical perspective, the use of art in therapy is well documented. Art therapy, a recognized form of psychotherapy, helps patients express and process emotions that are too complex for words alone. Comics, as a specific genre of visual art, have begun to attract attention within this therapeutic context. Medical professionals have observed that engaging with art can lead to measurable improvements in mental health outcomes. When trauma survivors immerse themselves in the creative process of reading or even creating comics, they experience reduced stress, enhanced mood, and an overall improvement in emotional regulation. This aligns with findings in psychoneuroimmunology, which illustrate the interplay between psychological processes and the immune system. Essentially, by reducing stress and fostering positive emotions, comics can contribute to better physical health outcomes. Beyond the realms of science and psychology lies the spiritual dimension, a domain where the language of symbolism and metaphor speaks directly to the soul. Many spiritual traditions teach that suffering is an integral part of the human experience, and that within every struggle lies the potential for awakening and enlightenment. Comics, often imbued with mythic and archetypal imagery, resonate on a deeply spiritual level. They serve as modern mythologies, offering symbols and narratives that speak to our innermost fears and aspirations. For example, the recurring theme of the hero's journey in comics mirrors the spiritual quest for self-discovery and rebirth, a journey that is central to many mystical traditions. In spiritual practices, rituals of storytelling are employed to facilitate healing. The act of sharing one's story in a sacred space can lead to profound personal transformation. Comics, with their accessible blend of narrative and visual artistry, provide a modern platform for these age-old practices, inviting readers to partake in a collective journey of healing and self-actualization. Now let us delve into the heart of our discussion: how comics can be instrumental in overcoming trauma. The medium of comics offers a multi-layered experience that engages both the analytical mind and the emotional heart. Firstly, comics allow for a gradual reintroduction to challenging themes. For trauma survivors, direct confrontation with painful memories can be overwhelming. Comics provide a mediated, often symbolic representation of trauma, enabling individuals to explore these themes at a pace that feels safe and manageable. The visual symbolism present in comics can help externalize internal pain, making it easier to process and eventually integrate into one's personal narrative. Secondly, comics offer narratives of resilience and transformation. Many storylines depict protagonists who face adversity, experience loss, and ultimately find redemption or personal growth. These narratives serve as both mirrors and guides. They validate the experiences of trauma survivors while also offering a blueprint for overcoming adversity. The depiction of flawed heroes who struggle with their own demons is especially resonant, as it reinforces the notion that the journey toward healing is non-linear and fraught with setbacks, but also filled with hope. Furthermore, the collaborative nature of the comic book community can be incredibly empowering. Whether through fan discussions, online communities, or local comic book clubs, individuals are given the opportunity to share their experiences, connect with others who have faced similar challenges, and build a supportive network. This sense of community is invaluable in the healing process, reducing feelings of isolation and fostering a shared sense of purpose. Lastly, engaging with comics stimulates both the creative and the cognitive faculties. The act of reading and interpreting visual narratives activates different regions of the brain, enhancing cognitive flexibility and promoting neuroplasticity. This is particularly significant for trauma survivors, as neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself, is a key component of recovery and adaptation following traumatic experiences. Let us now integrate the various disciplines we've touched upon: science, philosophy, psychology, medicine, comics, and spirituality, to see how they collectively inform our understanding of trauma recovery. From a scientific standpoint, understanding the neural mechanisms of trauma provides us with a clear roadmap for intervention. Neuroscience teaches us that healing is not about erasing the past, but about rewiring the brain to process and integrate traumatic experiences. Philosophy offers a broader context, reminding us that suffering is an inherent part of the human condition, and that meaning can be derived even from our darkest moments. Psychology provides evidence-based practices, such as narrative therapy, that empower individuals to reshape their stories. Medicine underscores the physiological benefits of stress reduction and emotional expression. Comics, as a cultural and artistic medium, offer both a mirror and a beacon of hope, while spirituality invites us to explore the deeper significance of our experiences and to find solace in the interconnectedness of all life. Together, these disciplines suggest that healing is a multifaceted process, one that requires both the rational mind and the intuitive heart. By engaging with comics, we tap into a holistic form of therapy that honors the complexity of the human experience. To further illustrate the healing potential of comics, let us consider a few case studies and personal stories from those who have found solace in this art form. In one inspiring case, a young adult who had experienced significant childhood trauma discovered the comic Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. The autobiographical narrative, with its stark black and white illustrations and candid storytelling, allowed the reader to see their own struggles reflected in the narrative of a brave, resilient protagonist. The process of engaging with the story became a mirror for self-reflection, ultimately helping the individual reconcile parts of their past and forge a path toward healing. Another example can be seen in the experience of a veteran grappling with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. This individual turned to Art Spiegelman's Maus, a graphic novel that portrays the horrors of the Holocaust through the lens of personal memory and myth. The symbolic representation of trauma, interlaced with layers of historical context and personal narrative, offered the veteran a new way to understand and contextualize their own experiences of violence and loss. Furthermore, many therapists have begun integrating comics into their practice. In therapeutic sessions, clients are sometimes asked to create their own comic strips, a form of graphic journaling, to illustrate their emotional journeys. This creative process not only facilitates self-expression, but also empowers clients to envision a future beyond trauma. As promised, I would now like to share with you a curated list of comics that have been recognized for their potential to aid in overcoming trauma and enhancing mental health. Each of these works offers unique insights, relatable characters, and narratives that underscore the resilience of the human spirit. Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi, a poignant autobiographical narrative that explores the complexities of growing up amidst political turmoil. Its stark, evocative illustrations and honest storytelling make it an invaluable resource for those seeking to understand the intersection of personal and collective trauma. Mouse by Art Spiegelman. This Pulitzer Prize-winning graphic novel employs the medium of comics to recount the harrowing history of the Holocaust. Its layered narrative and symbolic artistry provide deep insights into the enduring impact of trauma and the power of memory. Fun Home, a family tragicomic by Alison Bechdel, a deeply personal exploration of identity, loss, and acceptance. This memoir uses the comic format to delve into complex family dynamics and personal discovery. It is a testament to the transformative power of confronting one's past. Blankets by Craig Thompson, an evocative coming-of-age story that beautifully marries themes of first love, loss, and self-discovery with richly detailed artwork. Its exploration of emotional vulnerability makes it an essential read for anyone navigating the turbulent waters of personal trauma. The Walking Dead by Robert Kirkman and Tony Moore. While ostensibly a tale of a post-apocalyptic zombie outbreak, this series delves deeply into human psychology, societal collapse, and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming adversity. It provides a metaphorical exploration of how communities rebuild in the wake of trauma. Sandman by Neil Gaiman, a seminal work that blends mythology, history, and dreams into a narrative tapestry. This series explores the realm of the subconscious, inviting readers to confront their inner fears and aspirations through mythic symbolism and surreal storytelling. Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, an epic space opera that juxtaposes fantastical adventure with themes of loss, displacement, and hope. Its complex characters and multi-layered narrative encourage readers to contemplate the meaning of home and belonging, even amidst chaos. Batman: The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. A narrative steeped in mystery and the exploration of dual identities, this comic resonates with those who understand that darkness often coexists with hope. Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, a landmark in graphic storytelling that challenges traditional notions of heroism and examines the impact of trauma on both individuals and society. Ms. Marvel by G. Willow Wilson and Adrian Alfona. This series offers a fresh perspective on identity and empowerment, particularly for marginalized voices. It resonates with readers by highlighting the importance of representation and the healing power of self-acceptance in the face of personal and societal trauma. These selections, ranging from autobiographical accounts to epic narratives, serve not only as entertainment, but also as therapeutic tools that invite readers to engage with their inner lives, challenge their perceptions, and ultimately, heal. While reading these comics can be a solitary act of reflection, there are also several practical ways in which comics can be incorporated into a broader trauma healing process. Firstly, consider participating in a guided comic therapy group. Such groups are often facilitated by trained professionals who use comics as a medium to foster discussion, share personal narratives, and build community. By engaging in dialogue about the stories and characters, individuals can better understand their own experiences and draw parallels to their healing journey. Secondly, you may choose to create your own comic. Even if you do not consider yourself an artist, the act of visually representing your story through sketches, collages, or even digital art can provide a sense of control and empowerment over your narrative. This creative process can be deeply cathartic, as it allows you to reframe traumatic events in a way that is both personal and transformative. Lastly, journaling alongside your comic reading is another effective strategy. By reflecting on the themes, symbols, and characters that resonate with you, you can gain insight into your own emotions and experiences. Over time, this practice not only promotes self-awareness, but also facilitates a gradual shift in how you perceive and interact with your past. It is also important to recognize the broader cultural significance of comics. Once relegated to the margins of popular culture, comics have now emerged as a respected medium that bridges art, literature, and social commentary. Their influence extends far beyond entertainment. They serve as powerful tools for social critique and personal expression. The evolution of comic book culture reflects a broader societal shift towards embracing diverse narratives. From the groundbreaking works of Art Spiegelman and Alison Bechdel, to the modern reimaginings in series like Ms. Marvel and Saga, comics are redefining what it means to tell a story. This redefinition is particularly crucial for trauma survivors, who often find that mainstream narratives do not fully capture their complexities. By engaging with alternative narratives, individuals are afforded the opportunity to see themselves represented in new and affirming ways. In this light, comics are not merely a form of escapism. They are an invitation to question the status quo, to explore new dimensions of identity, and to imagine a future that is as multifaceted as our experiences. The democratization of storytelling through comics has provided a platform for voices that were once silenced, enabling a cultural dialogue that is both inclusive and healing. As we draw this session to a close, let us reflect on the transformative potential of stories, particularly those found in comics. Through a combination of compelling visuals, engaging narratives, and symbolic imagery, comics offer us a unique medium to explore our inner worlds, confront our trauma, and ultimately forge a path toward healing. Whether you are a longtime comic aficionado or a newcomer seeking solace in visual storytelling, remember that each panel, each line of dialogue, and each carefully crafted illustration carries with it the promise of hope and renewal. By embracing these narratives, you're not only engaging with art, you are participating in a ritual of self-healing that spans across cultures, disciplines, and eras. In our interconnected world, the stories we share have the power to unite us. They remind us that even in the darkest moments, there is beauty to be found, wisdom to be gained, and a future to be envisioned. Let the heroes in these pages inspire you to overcome adversity, to question your reality, and to rediscover the light within. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of how comics can serve as a vehicle for overcoming trauma. I encourage you to revisit these stories, discuss them with others, and consider how your own narrative might evolve through the lens of art and imagination. In closing, let me leave you with these words. Thank you for today. Thank you for yesterday. Thank you for tomorrow. Always remember to question your reality. And at every end, there is a beginning. You guys take care. Additional resources. For those interested in the science behind trauma and recovery, look into research on neuroplasticity and the impact of stress hormones on brain function. For insights into narrative therapy, you might want to explore works by Jerome Bruner and Michael White, who have extensively discussed the role of storytelling in healing. For a deeper dive into comic book literature, consider reading interviews with creators like Neil Gaiman and Alison Bechdel. They often discuss the intersection of personal experience and creative expression. For art therapy applications, numerous studies published in medical journals have documented the benefits of art therapy, particularly in trauma recovery. Each of these resources can provide further context and depth helping you to continue your journey of discovery and healing. Remember, the process of overcoming trauma is as unique as the individual, and the narratives we engage with can serve as powerful catalysts for change.